My name is Lin Haotian. I was originally an ordinary industrial engineer. I dealt with machines in the factory every day, designing production lines and optimizing processes. Although my life is boring, I am still stable. But who would have thought that one night when I worked overtime until midnight, I fell in front of my computer and opened my eyes again, the world changed. I found myself lying on a muddy land, wearing a torn and coarse cloth clothes, with a gray sky above my head, and cries and voices coming from my ears. I got up and saw that there were all skinny people around me, wearing torn clothes similar to mine, and my face was full of hope. Some of them hold children, while others dragged their broken luggage, like escapers. My heart was tight. Where is this? It's not so true to dream. I looked down at my hands, filled with soil and old tricks, not my double-knocking hands. I pinched myself and grinned in pain. Only then did I make sure that I was not dreaming. I really traveled through time. Suddenly there was a bunch of strange memories in my brain, like a video clip that was forced into it, which made me understand some of the situation. I am now in an ancient dynasty, similar to the chaos at the end of the war. The world collapsed and the war continued, and the people died in great numbers. The owner of my body was originally a farmer from a small village named Lin Haotian. His parents died early and were alone. His life was extremely miserable. As a result, I was in the field a few days ago, and when I woke up, I turned into me. I took a deep breath, felt panic, and looked around. This village is called Qingshi Village. It is located in a small valley in the southern mountains. There are many farmlands and forests around it. You can also see a detailed river far away. Unfortunately, the fields were full of dry and cracked soil, and the crops had already died. The villagers had eaten all the skins of the trees, so there were no more biotics. I touched my stomach, whimpering, and I was so tired that I was dazzled. There was only one thought in my brain: I had to fill my stomach first, otherwise I would not say that I would change my fate and I would have no life. I held my weak body and walked towards the village. I met several villagers on the way. Their eyes looked numb and empty when they looked at me, as if they had given up hope. I tried to chat with them and ask about the situation in the village, but they wanted to ignore me and be furious if they wanted to say God is going to die. I haven't gotten a harvest this year, so I can't survive. I felt my heart sank, and the situation here was worse than I thought. Back at Lin Haotian's broken little thatched hut, I rummaged through the things in the house. There was nothing, and I couldn't find even a bun. There is a raw iron and a few wooden heads at the corner of the house, which looks like farm tools. I sat on the ground, my brain moving at a rapid speed. As an industrial engineer, although I don't understand the fields, I at least know the importance of efficiency in tools. The problem in this village is obvious now: the food is not enough, the production capacity is too low, and irrigation and farming cannot keep up. If you can improve the tools and think of ways to solve the problem of water source, it may make everyone eat more food and survive first. I gritted my teeth and decided to start from the most basic. When the urgent task is to get some food, then think of ways to improve the food. I took the broken iron and walked out of the house, planning to go to the fields outside the village to see if I could dig some wild vegetables. On the way, I met an old man who was as thin as a bamboo pole. He squatted in the field, staring at the cracked land and dazed. I walked over and asked, Is there anything else to eat in this field?" The old man raised his head and glanced at me. "Ergu, don't be frivolous. There is nothing in the field, and all the grassroots have been dug up. If you are so hungry, go to the mountain to catch the weather, and you may be able to get rid of the wild fruits." I was a little bit, thinking that there was hope for the mountains than the deadly fields. I dragged my tired body and walked towards the forest behind the village. The mountain road is not easy to walk, full of thorns and gravel. After walking for most of the time, I finally found several trees with wild fruits on a small hillside. The fruit is not big, so sour that my teeth are almost falling off, but I still ate a few of them, and I was eager to fill my stomach. After eating, I sat down with a tree and started to count the next step in my brain. Wild fruits alone are definitely not a long time to think about it. I have to find a way to regenerate the fields in the village. In my memory, this village was not so old before. It was mainly due to the dry season. The river water had long been flowing, and the fields were not able to irrigate, so the crops could not survive. I remember that there are a simple irrigation tool in modern times, called the dragon bones, which can use manpower to pump water from low to high. If I could do one, it might be possible to solve the problem of water source. Thinking of this, I perked up in spirit and immediately started looking for suitable materials in the mountain forest. Wood is not lacking, there are many trees in this place. I picked a few sturdy ones, planning to first make a simple frame. The problem is the iron parts. Where can I find this thing? While worrying, I suddenly remembered that there seems to be an old blacksmith in the village, named Iron Mountain, said to have good craftsmanship, and there are some iron materials stored at home. If I can convince him to help, maybe I can make the key parts of the keel cart. I carried a few pieces of wood and hurried back to the village, rushing straight to Iron Mountain's house. Iron Mountain lives at the east end of the village, with a simple iron furnace in the yard, and I could hear the clanging sounds from afar. I walked into the yard and saw a big man with a full beard hammering a piece of iron, his muscles bulging all over, sweating profusely. He looked up when he saw me, wiped his sweat, and asked gruffly, "Ergu, what are you here for? Don't you see I'm busy?" I chuckled, put down the wood in my hand, and got straight to the point. "Brother Iron Mountain, I have an idea. I want to borrow some iron materials from you to make something that can pump water to irrigate the fields in the village. What do you think?" Iron Mountain listened, furrowed his brows, stopped his work, looked me up and down, and snorted, "Pump water? With your half-dead appearance, what can you come up with? Iron materials aren't cheap, why should I help you?" I thought to myself that this guy has a big temper, but there's no other way, he's the only one who can help me now. I patiently explained, "Brother Iron Mountain, you see, the people in the village are almost starving to death. There's no water in the fields, so nothing can be grown. Although my method sounds mysterious, if it works, we can grow more food and at least not go hungry. You help me this once, and if it succeeds, I guarantee to give you a share of the harvest." Iron Mountain finished listening, was silent for a while, and finally nodded, "All right, seeing as you're not just talking nonsense, I'll believe you this time. But let's make it clear first, I'll provide the iron materials and do the work, but if it doesn't work, you have to compensate me for my labor." I hurriedly patted my chest and guaranteed, "No problem, Brother Iron Mountain, it's a deal." Over the next few days, Iron Mountain and I were extremely busy. I first drew a simple sketch of the keel cart. Although my craftsmanship wasn't great, at least I marked the structure clearly. Iron Mountain looked at the drawings, although half doubtful, still started to forge the iron axle and chain as I said. I was responsible for assembling the wooden parts, and the two of us divided the work and cooperated, managing to make a simple keel cart in 3 days. This thing doesn't look great, it's just a frame made of a few pieces of wood, connected to an iron chain, with a water tank below, able to pump water from low to high. The principle is very simple, but for people of this era, it's almost like magic. Iron Mountain and I dragged this thing to the river outside the village. Although the river water was not much, it could still be used. Just then, a young woman suddenly came to the village. She was wearing a whitewashed dress and a hair bun on her head. Although she looked a little haggard, her eyes were clear and her temperament was completely different from those in the village. She walked up to me in Zishan, smiled slightly, and said, "I heard that you have made something that can pump water. I came here to see it. My name is Xiaoruashi, I live in the next village. I have some experience with Shirtian and want to talk to you." I was stunned and thought to myself, how did this girl know about us? But seeing her speaking clearly, unlike an ordinary farmer girl, I immediately guessed that she might be a little bit. I pointed out, "Miss Xiao, welcome to join. We are worried that we are not short of people. If you know how to grow fields, then that's great." Xiao Ruashi smiled and said nothing, but squatted down and checked the soil in the field. She looked around and said, "The soil is good, but it is lack of water for too long and the harvest has been lost. If the irrigation can be done and some organic fertilizer is added, there will definitely be a good harvest in the next year." My family used to have some methods of farming, which can teach everyone. I heard this and was happy. I didn't expect that this girl really understands it. Zishan was also grinning beside him. Okay, Miss Zhao, with you help, we might be able to save the village. With Zhao Ruoxi joining us, the three of us began to divide the work and cooperate. I am responsible for designing tools and irrigation systems, building iron and steel-making facilities in Iron Mountains, and Zhao Ruoxi brings villagers to improve the soil and guide the seeds. Although everyone was still skeptical, as the fields improved day by day, the villagers gradually became more and more fucked. But the good times didn't last long. After a few days, several evil gods suddenly came to the village. They were wearing coarse cloth shirts and sticks in their hands, and they entered the village with a gaze. A fat man in the lead shouted, "Who is Lin Ergu? Come out. I heard that you have made some strange things in this broken village. Do you dare not pay taxes? Isn't it alive?" My heart sank, knowing that this is not simple. Looking at this strategy, it is probably from local tyrants. I guess they heard that we have improved a little here and wanted to hit the bamboo stick. I walked up and said with a stern face, "I am Lin Ergu. If there are any problems for several big brothers, we can discuss it." The fat man sneered, looked at me up and down, and snorted, "Discussion? I tell you that this piece of land is all from Li. You have to respect Li first if you collect whatever you want. Here you have made a pumping thing and handed it over, otherwise it will be nice to you." I heard it, my fists were clenched tightly, thinking that this helper was indeed something to beat. Li should be the powerful local in memory, Li Xuanba, who controls the food and resources around him. He is cruel and ruthless. The villagers are afraid of him when they mention it. I know that this cannot be forced, otherwise everyone will suffer. I was so angry that I smiled and said, "Brother, this thing is really useless. It's just a broken wooden rack, and I'll get some water. Otherwise, I'll give Li some food to him first, which is considered filial piety. How about it?" The fat man narrowed his eyes and pointed, "Okay, you guys know each other. In 3 days, I will send 50 kilograms of food to the Li mansion, otherwise, you will be over in this broken village." After saying that, this helper left, leaving the village to help others in every way. 50 kilograms of food, for the current Qingshi village, is simply an astronomical number. Everyone finally had some hope, but they were frustrated by this helper again. Zhao Ruoxi walked over and said in a low voice, "Lin Haotian, this cannot be forgotten. Li Xuanba is so poor. He wants to eat today, but tomorrow he may be killed. We have to think of a way to do it." I clicked the head, thinking she was right. Although I have to calm the other party first, from a long way to see, I must speed up and make the village stronger, otherwise I will always be pressured by these strong people. Looking at the fields and forests far away, a big thought emerged from my brain, not only to eat food, but also to open minds and build machines to truly change this land. Only with real strength can you avoid being held in the palm of your hand. Zishan patted my shoulder and grinned, "Ergu, don't be sad and sad. We have hands and feet, what are we afraid of? At worst, we can fight with them." I smiled and thought to myself that I must fight hard, but I must fight smartly. I turned to Zhao Ruoxi, "Ruoxi, we have to seize the time and get the fields well, and at the same time think about ways and get some iron and minerals. As long as we have food and resources, we are not afraid of Li Xuanba helping others." Zhao Ruoxi pointed his head and his eyes were fixed. "Okay, I'll do it with you. Qingshi village, you can't just fall down." Looking at them, my heart warmed up and I felt that I was not a lonely army. Although life is extremely hard when traveling to this broken place, since I, Lin Haotian, has come, I cannot be in vain. That night, the atmosphere in Qingshi village was as heavy as a rock. The villagers gathered in the open space at the beginning of the village, their faces becoming more and more difficult to see, muttering about the people sent by Li Xuanba and the 50 kilograms of food. I stood among the crowd, and my heart was also in a panic. 50 kilograms of food are not much, but for the current Qingshi village, it is simply a number of people who have to scrape their bones. The fields were just filled with water, and the crops were not growing yet. Where can I pay for food? Zishan stood beside me and said with a rough voice, "This bastard is really what we are doing, and we will get oil when we just squeeze it with a single blow? Ergu, we can't just be so jealous. Otherwise, I will bring a few brothers and touch them at night and bring them to you." I glanced at him and thought that this big man was really hot, but this method didn't work. Head on, we are few and weak, so we probably have to be beaten into a squid before we touch the door of Li's mansion. I shook my head and said in a low voice, "Brother Zishan, don't be moved. Fighting hard is not an option. We have to calm them first and fight for some time. I have an idea. Let's pay for food first, and we should pay for it. At the same time, we should focus on the fields and mines. As long as we have food and materials, we will have enough energy and we will calculate the money with Li Xuanba at that time." Zhao Ruoshi stood on the other side, heard me, pointed at me slightly, and then said, "Lin Haotian said right, resisting now will only make the village more desirable. I see that there is still some Chenyan food in the village. Although it is not much, it should be possible to take out a portion of it for these 3 days if you spend it. In addition, I heard that although Li Xuanba is a child, I am afraid that the people above will suppress him. If we can find a backer, or make him feel that we have some background, we may be able to delay it." I heard it, and my heart moved, and I felt that the girl's brain was moving faster. Although it is difficult to find a backer, it is not completely impossible. In my memory, although this area was dominated by Li Xuanba, there was also a county magistrate on it, who was said to be sent by the court and had greater power than Li Xuanba. If this line could be used, it might be possible for Li Xuanba to be afraid of the mouse. But the problem is, how can we climb this high branch just by helping the mudlegs? Just as he was thinking, a thin figure suddenly walked over from the village head, wearing a torn long shirt and a torn straw hat, looking like a down-and-out book student. He walked up to me, bowed his hand, and opened his mouth. I heard that there were talented men and women in Qingshi village who had made a water-pumping thing and came to see it. I just heard a few discussions, and it seemed that something was difficult. If I didn't bother to give up, I might help you. I was stunned and looked at this person up and down, seeing that although he was dressed in a tough manner, he spoke gracefully, and there was a sense of aura in his eyes. He probably was not an ordinary person. I asked, "Mr. Zhang, who are you? How could you know about our village?" Zhang Wenchang smiled and said, "I was originally a book student in the county town, but because my family was in trouble, I fell here. I heard that there was a water pump in Qingshi village. I was curious and came to find out. I just heard that you mentioned Li Xuanba. I know a little about this person. If you need it, I can help you." I thought to myself that this person came by chance, maybe it was an opportunity. So I ordered the village affairs to be briefly told him, especially the matter of Li Xuanba forcing food. After listening to it, Zhang Wenchang pondered for a moment, and then said, "Li Xuanba is a man who relies on his own efforts to bully the town, but in fact he is also afraid of the county magistrate. If we can write a letter saying that Qingshi village is trying a new law, and that food is expected to increase production, and he is willing to serve the county magistrate, and then let someone deliver the letter, saying that it may make Li Xuanba have some taboos and dare not move you at the moment." As soon as this came out, my eyes lit up and I felt that this method was feasible. Although I don't know whether the county magistrate will pay attention to us, at least it can delay time. I immediately made a decision. Okay, just follow what Mr. Zhang said. "Ruoshi, you help me eat food, Iron Mountain, go and prepare for the staff, and you will be fine if you have anything to do. Mr. Zhang, what you believe will bother you." Zhang was far away and found a broken paper. When he wrote a letter, the content was nothing more than praising the wise ruler of the county magistrate, how hard Qingshi village worked hard to grow fields, and was willing to contribute to the court. After writing, he found a reliable villager and asked him to go to the county town at night and deliver the letter. The next 3 days, the villagers were so busy that they were not touching the ground. Zhao Ruoshi took people to slay the remaining Qinzi in the village and barely got 30 kilograms. Although it was still a little short of 50 kilograms, it was enough to do so. I carried the Iron Mountain and several young and powerful villagers to continuously improve the dragon bone car, and at the same time plowed the fields and prepared to sow them. At the same time, I took the time to turn on the mountain behind the village, wanting to see what the iron mine is like. The road on the mountain is not easy to walk, it is full of stones and thorns. I climbed the Iron Mountain for a long time before I got to the nearest of the mine. Looking far away, there were some black stones on the mountain walls, like iron mines. Zishan squatted down, raised a piece of stone and looked at it, grinning. "Ergu, this thing is indeed an iron mine, and its quality is quite good. But the problem is, we don't have tools. How can we dig it? Even if we dig it out, we can't get rid of it." I clicked the head and knew that this was urgent. Modern mines are made of fried medicine and excavators. Where are these things in this era? However, there is a simple method in my brain, which is to use fire to add water to break the stone and then dig it a little with iron. In terms of smelting, you can first use a high-altitude furnace. Although the efficiency is low, at least you can use some iron. I told Jishan the idea, and he heard it so hard, but he still said, "Okay, listen to you. Let's get the tools back first and try it." On the evening of the third day, Li Xuanba's men came again. It was still the fat man who brought a few subordinates to the village and saw me. When he saw me, he asked without saying that, "Lin Ergu, are you ready for food? Don't play with me." I was pressed down on the fire and smiled and said, "Brother, the food is ready. Although it is not much, we have done everything we can. This is 30 kilograms, and the remaining ones are ready in a few months. Please make sure to add them." As I said, I asked someone to carry the food over and pile it in front of the fat man. The fat man glanced at him, his face was dark and he snorted, "30 pounds? Where's the good 50 pounds? Are you looking for a beating?" I quickly explained, "Brother, it's really too stingy in the village. 30 kilograms are really a fertile family. However, we have written a letter to the county magistrate, saying that Qingshi village is willing to be a food for the imperial court and that there is hope of increasing the production. The county magistrate will send someone to investigate soon. By then, Li Wei will also have face, right?" After hearing the two words county magistrate, the fat man's face changed. Although he was still unhappy with his face, his lingerie was a little softer. "Humph, you kid will say. Okay, take these 30 pounds first, and count the remaining records in a few months. Also, don't think it's great to climb to the county magistrate. You will know Li's methods long ago." After saying that, he carried the man away to eat and left. I looked at their backs, clenched my fists, thinking that I had to clean up this way, but it was not the time. Zhao Ruoshi walked over and said in a low voice, "Lin Haotian, Zhang Wenchang's method really works, and the county magistrate could indeed scare them. However, this is just a right to do so. We have to speed up and make the village stronger." I clicked the head and said to Zishan, "Brother Zishan, the matter of mining has to be tightened. Let's first get some simple tools and try to dig some mines out. At the same time, the sowing of the fields cannot be stopped, and eating is the foundation." In the following days, the villagers seemed to have sex and were too busy to communicate. Zhao Ruoshi took the villagers to fill the fields with food, and used her family's method to make some wood ash and livestock stools as fertilizer, saying that it could make the crops grow better. I worked with Jishan to focus on mines. First, I used fire to burn water to blow up several large stones, and then dig them with Jishan. Although I was so tired, I dug out several 10 kilograms of mines. Zishan looked at the pile of black stones and grinned, "Ergu, I didn't expect you to have a way. If this thing can be made into iron, we won't have to worry about farming." I wiped my sweat and said, "Don't worry, the iron must be used to take a slap and come slowly. However, this is just the first step. We have to find ways to make more irons and even make some simple machinery. Only with these things can we truly stand firm." As he was speaking, Zhang Wenchang suddenly rushed over, his face was not very good-looking, and said, "Lin Haotian, it's not good." I just replied to the county town and said that the county magistrate was very interested in the matter of Qingshi village. He would send someone to observe it several days later. But I heard that Li Xuanba also received the news, and he probably would not be good at silence and would not take action first and destroy our fields and tools. I heard it, my heart sank, and I knew it was puzzling. It is a good thing for the county magistrate to come and observe, but Li Xuanba is so ruthless that we will never let us suffer any risks. It seems that we have to take good precautions next and not let him get into trouble. I gritted my teeth and said to Jishan, "Brother Jishan, we have to arrange manpower, and the wheels are guarding the fields and dragon bone cars, and the mines have to be tight. If you dare to come and fight, don't blame us for being rude." Zishan pointed his head and patted his chest and said, "Don't worry, hand it over to me." "I don't believe it, they dare to be tough." Zhao Ruoxi also interrupted, "I will organize the villagers to hide food and tools. If there is anything wrong, they cannot let them take them away. In addition, the county magistrates come to inspect and we must prepare for things so that they can see the achievements of Qingshi village, so that they can gain more support." I pointed and thought to myself that this girl was really careful. In the next few days, the villagers were busy planting fields and mines, and had to guard against Li Xuanba's people, and their lives were filled with anxiety. Sure enough, after 2 days, a noise suddenly came in the middle of the night. I quickly got up and rushed out of the house with sticks. I saw a few black shadows sneakingly approaching the fields, as if I wanted to set fire to burn crops. Zishan roared, "Who dares to wield my field?" he said, carrying several villagers over, and the dark shadows saw that they were not good, so they ran away and put down a few torches. Fortunately, they were not at all. I lifted the torch and my heart was filled with anger. I knew that this must be from Li Xuanba, so I thought of destroying our hope. I turned to Jishan and said, "Brother Jishan, you can't just forget about this. We have to take the initiative to attack and find a chance to give Li Xuanba some color. Otherwise, he would think we're going to bully." Zishan grinned and said, "I love hearing this. Let's say, what should I do?" I pondered for a moment, and a plan appeared in my brain. Since Li Xuanba wanted to destroy our fields, we would turn around and cut off his path. Didn't he develop a family by food and mining? Then we will start from these two aspects: first join forces with the surrounding villages, spread the matter of increasing food, attract more people to join, and then find ways to control the resources of mines so that he can't destroy it anymore. At that time, let's see what he still wants. I told Yaoshan and Zhao Ruoxi that both of them thought it was feasible. Zhao Ruoxi also added, "The surrounding villages are actually under pressure from Li Xuanba. If we can prove that the Qingshi village method works, they will definitely be willing to follow them. I can contact a few acquaintances and spread the news." I pointed out and said, "Okay, that's it. At the same time, the matter of mine cannot be stopped. We have to tighten the mining, load the iron, and make more tools and weapons. Only with real strength can we truly compete with Li Xuanba." In the following days, Qingshi village seemed to have changed. The villagers were full of energy, and the green crops in the fields grew day by day, and the sound of dinging dings was also heard on the mines. Although they were tired, everyone was looking forward to it. At the same time, Zhao Ruoxi indeed contacted several people from the surrounding villages. They heard that the food in Qingshi village increased, and they came to get it. Some people even took the initiative to join, helping to grow fields and dig mines. Seeing the village getting warmer day by day, I felt relieved, but I also knew that this was just the beginning. Li Xuanba would not sit and wait for him, and the matter of the county magistrate coming to observe is imminent, and there will be even greater challenges waiting for us next. I stood at the head of the village, looking at the mountains and fields far away, thinking, no matter what, since I, Lin Haotian, came here, I have to do something good. Not only did we have to make Qingshi village stand up, but we also wanted to make this land change in the end. After the news that the county magistrate came to inspect, the atmosphere in Qingshi village became more intense and full of expectations. During those days, the villagers were busy, the crops in the fields were carefully cared for, and the dragon bone car was wiped dry and clean, and they were placed in the most eye-catching place in the village, as if showing our achievements. On the other side of the mine, the Iron Mountain carried several powerful young men working day and night, and dug out a lot of mines, and even built a simple earthen high pot, trying to burn a little rough iron. Although the quality is not very good, it can at least be used to make some solid farm tools. I stood at the head of the village, looking at everyone's busy figures, and my heart was both excited and a little uneasy. It is an opportunity for the county magistrate to come, but Li Xuanba will definitely not let us get over the relationship. Sure enough, the night before, Zhang Wenchang hurried to look for me, and said with a tinge of a slight face, "Lin Haotian, it's not good." I just heard the voice that Li Xuanba planned to cause trouble when the county magistrate came, saying that he wanted to take someone to eat, so he smashed our dragon bone car, leaving a bad impression on the county magistrate, making us unable to turn over. I heard it, my fists were clenched tightly, and the fire in my heart was rising. This guy is really in a state of mind, and he is obviously trying to kill us. I gritted my teeth and turned to Jishan. "Brother Jishan, we can't sit and wait. We will send more people tonight to guard the fields and fish, and someone will have to watch the dragon bone car. Everyone who is Li Xuanba really dares to come, so let's give them some color." Zishan pointed at the head and grinned. "Don't worry, Ergu, I've wanted to beat this bastard for a long time. I'll take someone to guard it tonight. Who dares to come, I'll beat him up." Zhao Ruoxi stood aside, broing and said, "It's not enough to just guard it. We have to take the initiative to attack. The county magistrate came to inspect. We have to let him see the value of Qingshi village, and at the same time let Li Xuanba know that we are not easy to mess with. I suggest that people from the surrounding villages tomorrow will come over to make the county magistrate feel that we have the support of the people. In addition, I heard that Li Xuanba's food is on the town that is far away. If he can cut off his food source, he will not dare to act rashly." My eyes lit up and I felt that this method was good. Although the slaughter of this matter is risky, if it can be accomplished, it will definitely make Li Xuanba afraid of it. I pointed out, "Okay, Ruoxi, you are responsible for contacting people from the surrounding villages and bring them over tomorrow morning. Brother Zishan, leave the matter to you, bring a few relied brothers, figure out the terrain and find opportunities to start, but remember, don't force yourself, safety first." Zishan patted his chest and promised, "Don't worry, I'm responsible. This is done, let's see how Li Xuanba still wants to do it." That night, the village was brightly lit and almost no one was sleeping. Zishan was guarding the fields and villages with several brothers. We joined Zhang Wenchang to arrange the matters to welcome the county magistrate at the village. Zhang Wenchang was holding a broken piece of paper and writing paintings, muttering in his mouth what he would say tomorrow. How can he let the county magistrate look at us at a high glance? I heard his plan and secretly admired it. This book is indeed spiritual and may really help us gain support. As the sky was dawn, the Iron Mountain came back, sweating heavily, but there was a smile on his face. As soon as he saw me, I said, "Ergu, it's done." Li Xuanba's guard was not very serious. Last night, we touched him in the dark, set a fire, and burned half of his warehouse's food. That kind of helping people form a group, and there is no time to care about us. I heard it and was happy, but I was also a little worried. "Brother Zishan, no one found out that it was you who did it, right? Let's be careful when Li Xuanba reports it back." Zishan slammed his hand and said, "Don't worry, we're doing it, leaving no trace. Even if he is suspicious, he has no evidence. Besides, he is too busy to take care of himself, so why do you have the intention to mess with us?" As he was speaking, Zhao Ruoxi arrived with the people from several villages around him, with hundreds of people. Although she was dressed in a shady manner, her atmosphere was not weak. As soon as they entered the village, they talked about how harmful the food in Qingshi village was to increase production and how magical the dragon bone car was. I felt excited in my heart when I heard it. Zhao Ruoxi walked over and said in a low voice, "Lin Haotian, these people are all willing to come. They also want to work with us to change this land. Look, this scene is hot, right?" I pointed and grinned, "It's so. With these people here, the county magistrate knew at a glance that we were not a little boy. Let's go and prepare to welcome you." At noon, the sound of horse hooves was finally heard from the official road away, and a team of people drove towards Qingshi village. The leader is a middle-aged man wearing an official uniform. His face is majestic and he is riding immediately, with more than a dozen guards following him, and he is very energetic. The villagers had already lined up at the village head. I stood in front, took a deep breath, walked forward, bowed and said, "Chairman Lin Haotian, representing Qingshi village, welcome the county magistrate." The county magistrate glanced at me, pointed his head, got off his horse, and opened his mouth. "I heard that there is a water pump in Qingshi village, and there is hope for food and growth. I came here to visit me. Lin Haotian, if it is true as you said in your letter, I will report to the court to you and pay you a reward. But if there is a little bit of false words, I will definitely not be too light." My heart was tight and I knew that this was the time to take the exam. I hurriedly smiled and said, "Sir, please see, the fields and tools in our village are here, so there is no misunderstanding. Please come with the grass." Speaking, I walked to the field with the county magistrate and his followers, pointed to the green crops and the dragon bone car beside me, and told me in detail how to use this thing and how to double the food. The county magistrate was still expressionless at first, but seeing that the dragon bone car could really pump water, the fields were really long and pleasant, and his face gradually became smooth and down. He even stepped on the pedal a few times and tried the effect. People from the surrounding village were also helping each other, saying that Qingshi village's method saved their lives. Now everyone is willing to follow it, to make more food and pay more taxes. The county magistrate heard this and finally smiled and said, "It's good, and others are sure to be interested. If you can promote this method, I will definitely help you. Lin Haotian, you have done a good job." I heard it, and a big stone in my heart was about to land. I was about to say a few more good words, but suddenly a loud voice came from afar. I turned around and saw dozens of Hanzi wearing short shirts rushing towards the village. The leader was Li Xuanba. He looked angry and pointed at me and shouted, "Lin Ergu, you are such a big slut. I dare to burn my baby, today I will keep the chicken dogs in this broken village." My heart sank, knowing that this guy was indeed here, but I didn't expect that he would guess so quickly that we did it. The county magistrate raised his eyebrows and turned to ask me, "Who is this? Why is it noisy here?" I quickly explained, "Sir, this is Li Xuanba, a local tycoon. He bullies the town and eats food on weekdays. Our village has finally improved a little, and he has been in trouble every time. The people are fighting, please make the decision for us." Li Xuanba heard it and sneered, saying, "Mr. County Magistrate, don't listen to this boy's nonsense. Lin Ergu is a troublemaker who has burned my widows and rebelled, and he will be a stern crime. Sir, he should be arrested." The county magistrate's face was dark and he was obviously not very happy to be quarreled on the spot. He looked at Li Xuanba coldly and said, "I am here, I can't tell you how to write. What Lin Haotian said, I have seen it with my own eyes and have made contributions to the people. As for you, Li Xuanba, if you have evidence, you can report it, and I will find out. But if you are not worried, don't be clamored here." Li Xuanba was choked and looked blue, but he didn't dare to say anything more. After all, the power of the county magistrate was not something he could challenge. He glared at me fiercely and said in a low voice, "Lin Ergu, this matter is not over. Let's take a look." After saying that, he left in disgrace. The county magistrate turned his head to me and said, "Lin Haotian, I will report the matters of Qingshi village to the court. And others will continue to work hard, and don't slack off. As for Li Xuanba, if he dares to cause trouble again, I will take care of it. Do you understand?" I was busy and said, "The grass people understand. I thank you for being fair." The county magistrate pointed his head and left the village with his left. Looking at their backs, I felt relaxed, but I also knew that this was just a temporary victory. Li Xuanba is a man who will report a grudge and will never be good at slack off. Sure enough, in the next few days, although he did not dare to come openly to find trouble, he secretly sent someone to steal the mines and tried to intercept our team for food, which made everyone panic. I discussed with Zishan, Zhao Ruoshi, and Zhang Wenchang several times, and decided not to be beaten again. Since the county magistrate has recognized us, let's take advantage of this opportunity to unite the surrounding villages to form a major alliance. This will not only protect food and resources, but also make Li Xuanba dare not act rashly. At the same time, the mining mountain has to be opened and the iron has to be accelerated, and I also have a big idea in my brain. Use these iron materials to try to build a simple steam machine. Steam machines are complicated to say, but in modern times it is a basic industrial equipment. Although I am not a mechanical profession, I have at least some understanding of the principles. If I can make a simple version, I might be able to drive larger pumping equipment, or even mine opening, and the efficiency can be improved several times. By then, our strength will suddenly rise and fall. Don't talk about Li Xuanba, even the court must look up to us. I told Jishan the thoughts, and his eyes lit up. He patted his thighs and said, "Ergu, how long are you? If you can really make this steam machine, we will do it. Tell me, what do you do? I'll hear you." Xiao Ruoshi also pointed out, "It's good to hear this method, but the risk is also great. It takes a lot of iron and time to make this thing. If you fail, we will be in vain. But, I believe you, Lin Haotian, let's do it together." With their support, I feel more at ease. In the next few months, the people in Qingshi village and the surrounding villages were in a coordinated manner, and the food harvest in the fields was getting better and better. The food was piled up and full of time. When the county magistrate sent people to collect taxes, they were smiling on their faces. On the other side of the mine, more and more iron materials were dug, and the soil was high and the boiling day and night. Although it failed several times, finally in the third month, the first batch of similar iron pipes and parts were built. The steam machine assembly is more difficult than I thought. After all, there were no seals like this in this era, so I could only use the most primitive method to reverse the error. Zishan was sweating heavily as I was busy, and he kept shouting in his mouth, "Ergu, can this thing really move? Why do you look like a broken iron lump?" I smiled and said, "Don't worry, brother Zishan, you will know that you have harmed me if you become." After another half a month, the steam machine finally got to work. Although the sound was so loud and the efficiency was low, when it first carried a simple water pump to pump the river into the fields, the villagers were stunned and kept shouting artifact and artifact in their mouths. Zishan was so excited that he smashed on the ground and shouted, "Ergu, you are so good. As soon as this thing comes out, who dares to challenge us?" With steam machines, the mining mountain is much faster and food irrigation is more labor-saving. Qingshi village's reputation has been fully revealed, and people from farther places have even come to surrender, and the population of the village has increased several times. Seeing all this, I was both excited and a little moved. I didn't expect that an ordinary engineer could really do something in this broken place. But the good times didn't last long, and Li Xuanba finally couldn't sit still. He joined forces with several local forces and took hundreds of people to kill him directly outside Qingshi village, saying that he would flatten us and take away all food and resources. I know that this is the last battle. If we win, we can stand firm and follow us. After all our previous efforts will be in vain. I stood at the head of the village, looking at the crowd of black pressures far away, and said to Zishan, "Brother Zishan, call all the brothers who can be beaten up. Let's use the newly built crossbows and traps to give them my way. Ruoshi, take people to guard the shore. Zhang Wenyuan, please go to the county city to bring reinforcements. We have to drag reinforcements." Zishan pointed at the head and grinned, "Don't worry, Ergu, today I will let Li Xuanba know what it means to suffer." The battle was extremely fierce. Although Li Xuanba had many people, we were prepared for it. The newly built iron crossbow on the mine was quite powerful, and a few rounds of shooting made them feel bad. Zishan was lying outside the village with people, smashing the trap and stone to make the other party cry and call him mother. We took a few young people to guard the village, and used a steam-driven water pump to directly pump water to destroy their shape, forcing them to retreat. Li Xuanba watched his man beating so hard that his head was green, and pointed at me and shouted, "Lin Ergu, I'm not finished with you." But his voice fell, and suddenly came from a distance. The county magistrate arrived with a team of officers and soldiers. Zhang Wenchang is indeed a wise man and has brought reinforcements. As soon as the county magistrate arrived, he saw Li Xuanba attacking Qingshi village with his men, and ordered him to be taken down on the spot. Li Xuanba still wanted to make a mistake, but the county magistrate didn't hear him at all, so he directly asked someone to take him back to the county town for questioning. Before leaving, the county magistrate patted my shoulder and said, "Lin Haotian, your Qingshi village has made contributions to the people. This official will report to the court and appoint you as a local official, and be responsible for advancing the new laws. Do it well, don't blame the expectations of this official." Seeing Li Xuanba being taken away, a big stone in my heart finally landed on the ground. The villagers shouted, and Zishan was so excited that he hugged me and shouted, "Ergu, we won. This broken place is finally ours." In the following days, Qingshi village finally changed. After the imperial court's seal, I was appointed as a local official, responsible for managing the food and resources development of several villages around me. The technology of steam machines is also gradually improving, and more mechanical equipment has been created, and new things have been used for field irrigation and mining, which has increased the efficiency several times. Food is no longer a problem. The villagers' lives are getting better and better. Some people even started to put on tiles and put on new clothes. Zhao Ruoxi became my right-hand man, helping me manage food distribution and village affairs. Iron Mountain is responsible for the creation of mines and machinery. Zhang Wenchang continued to be a think tank and helped me to be troubled by the court and the local government. Qingshi village, oh no, it should be called Qingshi city now, and it has become the most prosperous place on this land. Merchants from all over the world have come to do business, bringing more resources and information. One evening, I stood at the head of the city, looking at the fields and forests far away, and my heart was filled with mixed feelings. From the first day I traveled to this broken place to the time I built a new city, I don't know why I got to this point. However, the road is still long, food and resources are just the beginning. Next, I want to burn the industry more vigorously, so that this land will eventually change, so that everyone can live a good life. After walking over to Zishan, patted my shoulder, and grinned, "Ergu, why are you going to be there? I'll have a banquet in the city tonight, and I wish you a great harvest this year, so you have to show off." I smiled and pointed, and turned around and followed him down the city. As the sun sets, the city is brightly lit, and the laughter and noise are spread far away. I thought to myself, no matter what challenges there are in the future, we can always make a fortune by helping us.